In this video, we'll present a step-by-step tutorial on how a fairly complex client-side template can be developed to merge JSON data into a template to produce HTML output. So you can see here we have some data, and the data here is in the form of an array of objects, and then the array has got 3 items in it. Each item in the array is an object that has an order ID and a date, and then a subarray of order items, and each order item has an item ID, a quantity, and a price. So when we go and we run this component and we click this button over here, we can see that the data in that array is merged into the template to produce this output over here. So what we're going to do in this tutorial is walk through the construction of the template to produce this output from the data. Now if we go back to the code here, we can see that all that we have is a button that calls a JavaScript function called expand template, and then the JavaScript function has the data, it has the template, and then it calls the alpha anywhere function to expand the data and the template to produce some HTML, and then that HTML is inserted into a div called div1. So here we have some static text, and there's div1 over there. So essentially what we're going to be doing in this tutorial is walking through the construction of this template, because the template is really where all of the interesting work is going on. So what I'm going to do is actually to do this tutorial, instead of working in the UX builder, I'm going to actually switch to the template tester window, and the template tester window is going to allow me to build my template. So I'm going to pause now and then pick this up in the next video where we'll work with the template tester window. So we're continuing now with our tutorial on building a complex client-side template, and we're using the template tester window. So in order to start out, let's get the data here into the data section, and we can actually do that by loading one of the predefined examples over here. So we can see that we actually have this example that we're trying to generate is in the built-in examples over here. So there's the working template. I'm going to go here and just erase everything now. So now I've got nothing at all. And let's go back and look at what we're trying to achieve. So the first thing we're trying to do is put the order ID for each order at the beginning of the order, and then we want a footer that's got a grand total for all orders. So let's go over here and we'll type in order ID, and what we see is that the order ID is repeated over here 3 times, and the reason it's repeated 3 times is because the array of data that we're passing in has got 3 rows in the data. So if we go here and put in a BR in the template, we'll see now we have order ID 3 times, each instance on its own line, but we want the actual order ID to appear there, so this is the order ID property there. So we'll go here and type in curly bracket order ID, and now we basically have order ID 1, 2, 3. We'll ignore for the time being this additional stuff over there. We'll come back and do that a little later on. Let's focus now on this grand total. So this appears once at the very end, so that looks like a footer. So we'll put that in a footer tag. So we'll go there and then we'll insert a command. So we'll go here and we'll insert the footer command. That's the footer start, and then we'll go there and insert the footer end. So basically this means that everything between the footer start and the footer end should appear at the very end of the generated HTML. So I'll go here and type in grand total, and what I see in my output is that this doesn't look right, and the reason that it doesn't look right is that because the top level data object here is actually an array and not an object, we need to wrap the data in a special root directive. So I'm going to go here and insert root at the beginning, and then go here and insert an end root at the very end. And so now basically what I have is a structure that's beginning to resemble the output that we want. So there's order ID 1 and order ID 2 and order ID 3, and then the footer appears at the very end, and just one instance of the footer. So basically when you're passing in an array as your data as opposed to an object, you can wrap it in the special directive, the root, which basically gives you access to the it gives you the ability to put in headers and footers for the array. So I'm going to just go and format my template a little bit more nicely by using indentation, so I can see what's going on more clearly. So now I've got my data formatted, and now let's go and to the template and start adding in data for order items. So we'll go to under order, well first let's just go here and put in say date, and then go date, and then put in again a BR. And so now we have order ID and then followed by the date. Now let's go and put in the placeholders for the order items. So I'm going to go here and put in order items and then put in the closing tag, so slash order items. So this means now that basically within anywhere in between these two placeholders, now I can use the placeholders for order items. So let's go there and tab it in and type in item ID, and so there I can see now we have the item ID, and I'll put in a BR at the end of that. Actually what I'll do is I'll put the BR in its own line. So there's the first item ID. Then let's go here and put in quantity, and then let's go here and put in price. So basically there we have 1, 3 and 23.4, 1, 3 and 23.4. So we have basically the so we're continuing with our tutorial on building an advanced client-side template, and what we've shown right now is that we've added to the template item ID, quantity and price. So you can see that we're emitting over here the item ID is 1, the quantity over there is 3, and the price is 23.4. So it's not yet formatted very nicely, but at least we have the output being generated. But if we go back and look at the example, we can see that we also have an extended price, which is price times quantity. So let's go back to our template now, and we're going to go over here and add in another placeholder, and this time we're going to type in quantity times price. So there we can see that we have now our computed value, but it's not looking very good because in our real example we have it formatted with a $sign and 2 decimal places. So we'll go back now to our template and we'll type in colon and then number, and now we can type in the number format that we want, and the number format that we want, and we can actually get format directive help by clicking on this hyperlink over there. We want to use a $sign, a hash sign, comma, hash dot 00. So basically that gives us actually I think we want 3 hash signs. That gives us thousands that are separated by a comma, a leading $sign and 2 decimal places. So now we have more or less the structure of the data that we want, but we can see that in the example that we're working toward, the order details are in a table. They have a heading over there, and they have some summary data in their footer. So let's go now and add a header section to the order items. So I'm going to go over to order items over there and then click on insert command and insert a header and then the closing directive. So we'll go there and insert the closing directive over there, and then we'll do the same thing so now we'll just push all of these items in one, and then we'll go over here and we'll put in a footer over here. So let's go there now and insert a footer. So that's the start of the footer, and then we'll go there and we'll insert the end of the footer. So now what we have is a header that's going to appear before the first order item. So I'll just go here and say just order item header BR. So you can see there's order item header, and then if I go there and type in order items footer BR, so we can see now we have before the first order item we have our header, and then there's our 3 order items, and then there's the footer that appears at the end of it. But what we can also see when we go back and look at this, that we have a row number. So you can see that the order items are numbered 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go and insert that as well. So I'm going to go before the first placeholder there and insert a command, and I'm going to choose a 1 base count. So now you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4. But it still doesn't look very good, and the reason it's not looking very good is what we really want to do is insert the data into an HTML table. So what I'm going to do now is in the header section over here, I'm going to inject the HTML table tag, and then I'm going to put all of these order items into table rows, and then in the footer section I'm going to insert the HTML close table tag. So let's pause now and pick this up in the next video. So we're continuing now with our tutorial on building a client-side template, and what we want to do now is turn the order items into an HTML table. So as we mentioned previously, we'd like to insert a HTML table tag in the header and end the table tag in the footer, and then make each row in the detail section here into a table row. So I'm going to just go and copy from the clipboard so that I don't have to actually retype everything. So I'm going to go here now and replace that section over there, the header, with a table tag. So I'm going to go there, and what we can see over here now is let's go here and format that nicely. So we have a table tag, and then we have a table row, and then we have our column headings over there. So there's the table, there's the beginning of the table over there. Now what we want to do is replace these items over here with or in effect wrap them in a table row. So again, what I'm going to do is just copy from the clipboard over there. So just bear with me while I go here, and so now I'm going to take this and replace this with our table rows over there, and then what I want to do is replace this over here with the end table. So let's go here and put in /table. So now what we have is a template that is generating a table for the order items, but we still have quite a bit of work to do. So you can see, for example, if we go back to our example here, we can see that the numeric fields, quantity, price, and extended total, are right justified, and then in the footer we also have this additional summary row over there. So let's go now and take a look at how we can do that. So we're going to go back now to our template here. I can see that we've inserted text align right for each of these data elements. So in fact they are currently aligned right, but what we don't have is the footer row appearing over here. So what we'd like to do is put in a footer row. So I'm going to just go and copy this row from the header and duplicate it in the footer over here. So I'm going to go there and paste that in, and we want to just change those from THs into TDs. And then what we can do for placeholders, we can type in these labels: average, quantity, average, total, and count. So we'll go back over here, and we'll replace this with count, and then we'll get rid of the item ID label completely. So then we'll go here and we'll type in average quantity, and then we'll type in a colon, and then we'll type in here average price, and we'll type in our colon, and then we'll go here and we'll type in just total, and then we'll type in our colon. So now we basically have our footer over there, but we don't actually have the actual summary data in it yet. So let's pause now and pick this up in the next video. So we're continuing now with our tutorial on building a complex client-side template, and at this point our template looks like this, which is beginning to resemble the desired output, but there's still some work to do. We still haven't dealt with the summary information that's appearing in the header for each order, and we haven't yet dealt with the grand total there, and we haven't yet dealt with the summary that gets computed for each individual order. Also, we can see here that there's some spacing between each order and then before the actual footer appears. So let's go first and deal with the spacing. So before each order we'd like to put some additional space. So we can go here to order ID. Actually, let's do this. Let's go to the footer over here and put in a BR. So now that's given us some space between each order. So that's good. Now let's focus on trying to get the order number 1 of 3 over there. So we'll go back to our template and scroll to the top now, and we'll type in the template order number, and then we want to know basically what instance number this each order is in the output. So we can go here and again use the same one-based count. So now we can see here this is order number 1, order number 2, and order number 3. Now in order to get the total number of orders in the array, we can use the special system root variable. So we're going to go here and we're going to insert a placeholder, and then inside the placeholder we're going to go here and we're going to insert, actually we don't, let me just get rid of the curly brackets there, because the insert command is going to put that in for me. So I'm going to go there and choose curly bracket root and then choose dot length. So basically square bracket root is a system object that refers to the data that is being expanded, and dot length is the JavaScript property of an array to get the number of items in an array. So this is giving us now count order number 1 of 3, 2 of 3, and then 3 of 3. So basically we've got that part, and now we want to basically say for orders placed between, and we want the date of the very first order and the date of the very last order. So let's go here and we'll type in for orders placed between, and now we want to put in the date of the very first order. So we can again use the special root variable. So I'm going to go here and type in root. So now root is the array. So we want the first item in the array, so that would be 0, and we want the date property. So you can see there what we have, and then we need to of course wrap all of that in a curly bracket, because we're trying to omit some text. So there we have, now you can see we've got the date of the very first order, and now we want to go and put in the date of the very last order. So I'm going to go here and type in and again in curly brackets I'm going to go here and type in root, and this time I'm going to use -1, which is the last item in the array, dot date. So now what I have is the very first date and the very last date over there, and then I can put in my closing parentheses at the very end there, just so that it looks correct. So now we're very, very close now to what we wanted, excepting we can see here that we have the start date and end date in bold, and that means we can just simply go back to our template and put a bold tag around those two items. So let's pause now and pick this up in the next video. So we're continuing now with our tutorial on client-side templates, and what we'd like to do now is make the start date and end date bold to match our example over there. So we'll go back now and we'll just put in a bold tag. So we'll type in B over there and then end the bold tag over there. So now we have the start date in bold and B, and then we'll move on over there and put the closing bold tag around that. So now we basically got our the order header now exactly matching our example over here. So now the next thing that we need to do is get these summary values working. Now the way that summary values are computed, and there are several techniques for computing summary values, but the technique that we're going to use in this video is something called an array preprocessor. So when we look at our template over here, we can see here that order items is the placeholder for the order items array. So what we can do is we can specify the name of a JavaScript function to call before order items gets expanded, and inside this function we can compute all of the summary values that are needed. So we can compute the count for the number of order items in this table. We can compute the average quantity, the average price, and the total for the order. So we'll compute that in the preprocessor function, and then we'll just emit those values in the template. So what I'm going to do now is first of all just specify the name of the function that we'd like to call. So the way in which you specify the preprocessor function is you use an @ sign and then the name of the function. So I'll call it order preprocessor. Now obviously at this point we haven't yet defined the order preprocessor function, so therefore the template is broken and we can't merge the data. So let's now go and define the order preprocessor function. So we'll go here and click on JavaScript Functions, and we'll define our function. So we'll go ahead here and we'll define our function, and notice that the function takes 3 arguments. Data, which is the data that the preprocessor function is operating on. So in this case data is going to represent order items over here. Temp is a global variable that you can put data into, and it's available to you when you're expanding the template. So this is actually a critically important variable. We're going to use that to put our summary values into this temp variable, and then the template will emit them, and you will see that in a few minutes. And then root is the top level data object that is being expanded. So root will give you access to the entire array of data, whereas data just gives you access to the current order item that is being expanded. Now the array preprocessor function must return the array that needs to be expanded. So if I just were to go and press OK right now, I would get an error, because we're not returning the array. So let's go back now and just type in over here return data and then click OK, and now we're back to where we were. So so the key point here is that the array preprocessor function gets called before the order items array is expanded, and inside this function you can modify the order items array in any way that you want and then return it, and the returned array is what will actually get expanded. But you can also use the preprocessor function to compute summary values, which is what we're going to do, and we'll pick that up in the next video. So we're continuing now with our tutorial on building an advanced client-side template, and we're discussing now how the order preprocessor function that gets called before the order item array is expanded can be used to compute the summary values that are currently missing from our template. So let's go back into our JavaScript function right now, which is currently empty. All that it's currently doing is just simply returning the array of data that was passed in, and start adding some functionality. So I'm going to go here and first of all just paste from the clipboard some JavaScript code here that initializes some variables, because we're trying to compute the total quantity for the order, the total price, the total extended price, and also the extended price. Then what I'd like to do is, inside this preprocessor function, I'd like to loop over all of the items, all of the rows in the order, so that I can compute the average quantity, the average price, and the order total. So what I'm going to do here is just paste in some additional code over here, just so that I don't have to type it, and then let's go over there and paste that in, and then I'll explain what's going on. So what we have over here is, again, we've just initialized a dummy variable, and now you can see that we have a for loop that is going to loop over all of the data in the array that is currently being expanded. So this function is going to get called 3 times. Once because there are 3 orders in my data here, so it's going to get called with this array first, then with this array second, and then the third array for the third time. So what we're going to do here is we're going to basically loop over this array. We're going to loop over it the number of times specified by data.length, and then underbar D over here is going to point to the array items. So this is going to be data 0 for the first time, data 1, data 2. So then extended price is going to be underbar D quantity times underbar D price. The total extended price is going to just accumulate the extended price. The total price will be total price plus the price from the current row, and then the total quantity will be the total quantity plus the quantity from the current row. So now that we have the total price that and the total quantity, we can now compute the averages. So let's go here, and we're going to go there, and let's just, again, to save some typing, I'm going to just paste some JavaScript code in over there. So I'll go there now, and you can see that what I'm doing is I'm computing the average price by taking the total price divided by the number of items in the array, and I'm putting that value inside this temp variable. So the temp variable is going to be available to me in the template. So I'm going to be able to reference in the template this value, temp.average price. So here's my average quantity, which is the total quantity divided by the number of orders. The total extended price, I'm just putting that into the temp variable, and then I also have temp.item count, which is the number of orders, the number of order items. So now these values that are inside this temp variable are available to me and can be used in the template itself. So let's go ahead now. When I click OK, you can see that the template is still working fine over here, so everything is still working, but now we need to actually consume those values that have been placed into the temp variable. So let's pause now and pick this up in the next video, where we show how the data from the temp variable can be emitted in the template. So we're continuing now with our tutorial on building an advanced client-side template. And you'll recall that in the last video we defined the JavaScript functions that computed the summary values, and we put those summary values inside the temp variable. So temp.itemCount gives us the number of order items. So let's go and add that to our template first. So we'd like to put the count over there, so we'll go over there and count, and we want to put, if I just type XXX, you can see we want to replace this value with the item count. So I'm going to go there now and put in curly brackets because we want to output some data. So we use curly brackets over there to indicate that we want to emit something, and now we use the special temp variable, and we want to output the item count value. So you can see now we have item count over there, item count 2 and item count 4. Now next we want the average quantity, so again we're going to go here and use our curly brackets and then square bracket temp, and then recall that we put the average quantity in a value called average quantity. So I'm going to go here and type in average quantity, and there's our average quantity being displayed over there, but again with no formatting, so we want to go and format that nicely. So we'll type in colon number, and then our number format that we're going to choose is going to be a sorry, we want that .00. So now you can see we've got basically our average quantity with 2 decimal places over there. Now we can continue. We can go here and put in our average price. So I'm going to just copy that from the clipboard, but again the exact same technique is used. The average price is in the temp.averagePrice variable, so we'll go over here and we'll put in the average price over there. So now we've got the average price, and then we'll go here and we'll get the order total. So that was put into the temp.extended the total extended price variable. So we'll go there now and place that in over there, and now we have the order total over there. So now at this point we are very close to our final goal, and we can see over here that we've got our totals are all correct. What's missing now is the grand total for the entire invoice. So let's go back now and see how we can modify our array preprocessor function, which we're calling over here, to compute the grand total for all of the orders. So let's go back now and edit our function, and what I'm going to do over here is paste in some JavaScript code, and I'm going to go here and say that what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting the grand total again inside this temp variable, but the very first time that this function is called, temp.grandTotal will not yet exist, so it'll be undefined. The type of this variable will be undefined, so I'm going to initialize it to be 0. Now once I've computed the total for an individual order, I can go and accumulate the grand total. So let's go now and just paste some code in over here, and then paste that in. So you can see now that after I compute the total for an individual order, I'm going to add that total into the grand total over here. So temp.grandTotal is now the variable that contains the total for all of the orders. So let's pause now and pick this up in the next video. So we're continuing now with our tutorial on building an advanced client-side template, and we're showing now how the total for all of the orders can also be computed in the array preprocessor function, and you can see that we're putting the grand total inside a temp variable called temp.grandTotal. So now we need to go to our template, and inside the grand total function over here we need to consume that value, because what we want to do is print out the grand total. So it says grand total for all 3 orders is, so we'll go here. So we'll go here, we'll say grand total for all X orders is, and we want to go now and consume the value from the temp variable. So we'll go there and type in temp, and then the name of the actual variable that we want is grand total. So you can see now there's our grand total over there, but we'd like to format it. So let's go here and pick out our formatting directive. So I'm going to just copy that from the clipboard, and so go grand total and then colon, and then there's our numeric formatting directive over there. So now we have the grand total appearing with the correct formatting, and now we need to basically just replace X with the number of orders. So we'll just go here and put in curly brackets because we want to emit some value, and we'll just go here and type in root, which is the system variable that gives us the array, all of the data that we're looping over, and type in length 8th length. So grand total for all 3 orders is this. So now what we've done in this series of videos is show how the template was constructed to achieve the output shown over here. So there's a lot going on in this tutorial. What we've shown is how the array preprocessor function, which we're specifying over here, can be called to compute summary values, grand totals, etc. We've shown how we can put the nested order items inside a table. We've shown how we can right align it by putting HTML directives into the template. What we haven't shown is how you can actually add CSS classes, etc., but that's all standard HTML and CSS classes that can be used. So what you have here is a very powerful templating feature in Alpha Anywhere that is easy to use and also easy to develop by using the template tester window, which you can access by just going to the web control panel, and from the web control panel you basically just choose tools, open template tester, and then inside the template tester you also have access to a large number of examples that demonstrate different features in client-side templates. Thank you very much for watching.